Hi, everybody. Dr. Friedman here, and this is a weird one. So, let me explain something really quickly. Normally, I teach the whole week, Monday and Wednesday, and then I go to the gym after class almost immediately. And so, I tend to record either late in the evening on Wednesday night or when I get up on Thursday morning. So, the fact that I have not even changed from the gym and am just so excited to report on just how Monday went that it's a really special week. Meguey Baker, the creator of almost everything behind me except for Spine, because now I know you're seeing this, Asa, and happy to continue to support a game my students are playing. Um, Meguey and Vincent are the founders of an entire kind of tradition of role playing games. And they would be the first to tell you that they do that in turn in collective with any number of other folks. And um, that's important and wonderful. But right now, this is a little bit of a love letter to Meguey. Meguey was one of two visitors last semester that unanimously students requested to please, please, please come back and to come back as soon as possible in the semester. Unfortunately, we were thwarted by 20 inches or more of snow, and so we've had to move her visit from week 4 to week 6. And we've had a little bit of a rough start for any number of reasons. As I've talked about in previous vlogs, it's a weird start to this semester when you teach a Monday, Wednesday class, when there's a lot of holidays and the semester starts on Wednesday. We've also just had, the shakedown that happens when you have a small class and stuff happens. So I wasn't sure how this was going to go. This is our first in-person guest, and we've got kind of a lineup coming. And so I'm really nervous, not because I doubt Meg or even my students, just, things happen. But sometimes magical things happen. And that's what happened today. I brought all of the games you see behind me along with In a Wicked Age, which is literally every game by Meguey and Vincent I own, at least in physical form. I own others in PDF, but I wanted the physical objects. Students took a look at 1001 Nights, as well as Meg and Vincent's open letter in response to the PbtA taxonomy debate, as well as a short story by Alice Walker that I will include in the links in the description for this video. I'm so excited, I kind of can't remember, but I promise there's another recap coming of this week to talk about how the whole week went. I'm really kind of wired and excited because what we did, Meg had a vision for what she wanted to address, and she introduced herself very simply with all of the different hats that she has worn in her long life so far. May it continue for a long time to come. Those of you who are watching this video may be familiar with her as the Mother of the Apocalypse, the designer of Apocalypse World and a game designer of many games that, especially after she and Vincent became parents of young children, were about getting to the table fast, getting to the table and having a satisfying experience before you crash, and doing it again and again. That these are games about relationships. These are games about all the ways we're interconnected in different kinds of ways. I have had a fight with a more famous person than I am about whether there's also player versus player. And I think there is and isn't, right? But that's, again, a discussion for a different day. The point is that we've brought Meguey back with great enthusiasm for is also her work as a textile conservator and a museum professional. She's giving a talk tomorrow about conserving a child's garment to our Alabama Historical Society. And that way of thinking about material culture, texts that don't have words at all, became the way that we talked about so much. And it really broke open the class in ways I should have known but wasn't prepared for. And I had an inspired idea. We're in this incredibly beautiful room, which if you've seen the kind of thumbnails of previous videos in the series, we have this huge floor to ceiling wall of windows that look out over campus. And I said, hey, what would happen if we looked and read campus as a text? Meguey does not know anything about campus, and so all she can do is based on what she sees and talk about how she noticed the importance of the football stadium, but also the importance of water. That water towers, which I think of, they're the air I breathe, I guess, or the water that I drink, don't think about them. My students didn't think about them, but Meg has a different system in the Northeast for how water moves to different sites. And so that really struck students. And then the students and I layered in the things that we know about the landscape kind of as annotations. And we began to see how the creators and designers of campus thought about its use and its meaning in certain kinds of ways, and palimpsestically, layer by layer, new meanings have accrued on top of that. We had to have spent like 45 minutes of a 75-minute class in this discussion. Students were engaged and lively. All of the students were. And that allowed us to transition into thinking about these games as this kind of component of, okay, so you author part of it, and then there's these other meanings. We started to talk about what Death of the Author was. We started to talk about these different kinds of elements. And the students started to talk about how impressed they were about game design and how game design was different from writing kind of a straightforward linear narrative. And I got to say, hey, we're building towards Die, which is both at the same time, a game and a linear text, and they're part of the same project, and you're going to get to talk to that person too, and they're nice too. I'm excited for the day that I get to put them together. And next week, Play to Find Out comes out of this tradition and is the name of the show that is an actual play show created by Quentin Smith, who's coming next week virtually, and other kinds of connections with James D'Amato and Dylan Appelian, who are coming in, and connections with Jade Dragon, who's already visited. It was one of those days that you hope for in a class like this, where the light bulbs start to turn on, the sparks and the synapses and the connections suddenly make sense. The things you've been throwing at students for over a month finally come together. Alchemy, magic. There's no other word for it. So yeah, I'm so excited that I'm coming to you with a sweaty face of janky makeup because I didn't take it off before the gym. And I'm going to go take a shower now before we go play Under Hollow Hills in Dreaming Avalon with my home game. But that's a different video for the Gathering My Party series. But this is also one of those beautiful moments, right, where the teaching vlogs that some of you may focus on intersect with my gaming life at home. And like so much in the academic life, they're really the same thing as Die being both a game and a work of fiction. You can't divide them. They bloom together. A life well lived doesn't have silos in those kinds of ways. It's all different, beautiful facets. It's all different tributaries coming into the same glorious swamp. I don't know. I'm incoherent with joy. This has been, I think for many of us, a difficult time. And certainly it's been difficult for my students in different kinds of ways that have nothing to do with class. And we hold those things and we bring our full human selves, and to have a moment where brains and hearts and imaginations all come together is just, it's what the work is for. I hope you have something like that happen for you soon. I hope you have the eyes to see it and the heart to receive it. Take care, and I'll see you very soon.